Your dog pulls because pulling works. The leash gets tight, the dog reaches the tree, snips the grass, greets the person, and keeps moving toward everything they wanted. Every successful step teaches the same lesson. Tension makes the walk go forward. To stop the pulling, you need to reverse that rule without turning every walk into a fight. The new rule is simple. A loose leash moves, a tight leash pauses. But if you only freeze every time your dog pulls, you may spend 20 minutes standing beside the same mailbox. So I will show you the full system, including how to reward position, use sniffing as payment, and keep your dog engaged before the leash gets tight. First, separate loose leash walking from a formal heel. A heel asks the dog to stay in a precise position beside your leg. Loose leash walking simply means the dog can explore without dragging you. For everyday walks, loose leash is usually the skill you need. Choose which side you want your dog to use most often, then prepare rewards that are easy to deliver. The reward should appear beside your leg, not out in front. Food placement teaches position. If every treat lands ahead of the dog, you are paying them to surge forward. Start indoors without worrying about distance. Stand still. When your dog comes beside you and the leash hangs in a soft J shape, mark with yes and feed beside your knee. Take one step. If the leash stays loose, mark and feed again. At first, you may reward every step. That is fine. You are explaining the game. Once your dog understands where rewards happen, take 2 steps, then 3, then change direction. Keep the first sessions under 2 minutes. A puppy or untrained adult may not have the focus for a full neighborhood walk. Short, successful practice builds the skill faster than dragging the dog through 30 minutes of failure. Now add the stop rule. When the leash becomes tight, stop your feet. Do not jerk the leash or pull the dog backward. Wait for any movement that creates slack. The dog may glance back, take 1 step toward you, or simply shift their weight. The instant the leash loosens, mark, reward at your side, and move forward. Forward motion is part of the reward. The dog begins to discover that pulling stops access, while slack restores it. Timing is everything. If the leash loosens and you remain frozen for another 10 seconds, the dog cannot see what worked. Mark the first slack and get moving. The stop method works, but it can become frustrating if your dog is hitting the end of the leash every 2 seconds. That is where direction changes help. Before the leash tightens, say, "This way," turn smoothly, and reward when your dog catches up beside you. Practice the turn inside first. Say the cue, rotate your body, and move a few steps. The leash should guide, not snap. Reward near your leg. When the cue becomes familiar, use it outside to prevent pulling instead of waiting for the mistake. Your dog learns to watch your movement because the route is no longer perfectly predictable. You may turn left, turn right, slow down, or speed up. The handler becomes relevant. Do not zigzag for an entire mile like you are trying to confuse the dog. Use a few purposeful changes during short training blocks, then release the dog for a sniff break. Sniffing is one of the best rewards available on a walk. The problem is not that your dog wants to sniff. The problem is when pulling becomes the only way to reach the smell. Use a life reward sequence. Your dog walks 5 loose steps. You mark the behavior and say, "Go sniff." Then move together toward the grass. If the dog charges and tightens the leash, pause. The sniff becomes available again when the leash softens. This teaches a lesson food alone cannot. Polite walking opens access to the real world. You are not competing with every smell. You are using the smell to train the behavior. The next issue is pace. People often walk slowly while dogs naturally want to move faster. During training, try a pace that gives your dog something to do. Walk with purpose for several steps, reward, then pause for sniffing. A painfully slow march can make pulling harder for an energetic dog. You can also begin the walk with a short decompression period in a safe area. Let your dog sniff on a longer leash before asking for focused, loose leash work. A dog who has had no chance to investigate may struggle to ignore the first 20 smells on the sidewalk. Structure the walk in blocks. 2 minutes of loose leash practice, then a sniff break. Another short block, then a simple training game. This rhythm gives the dog clear expectations and keeps both of you from getting frustrated. Distractions need their own plan. A dog may walk beautifully until another dog, squirrel, child, or skateboard appears. At that point, do not wait for the leash to hit full tension. Create distance early. Cross the street, step into a driveway, or make an arc. Ask for an easy hand target or begin your practice turn cue. Reward several steps of connection as the distraction passes. If your dog cannot take food or respond, you are too close. More pressure will not create better focus. Move away until the dog can think again. Equipment can support safety, but equipment does not teach the skill by itself. Use a sturdy leash and a properly fitted collar or harness appropriate for your dog. Check that clips and straps are secure. If your dog is strong, fearful, or likely to slip out, ask a qualified professional to help you choose and fit the setup. Avoid retractable leashes while teaching this rule. They maintain constant tension and allow the dog to gain distance by pulling, which conflicts with the lesson you are trying to build. A fixed-length leash makes the feedback clearer. Also avoid leash corrections, jerks, and equipment designed to cause pain or fear. The walk should teach the dog where to move and what choices earn access. Suppressing pulling through discomfort does not build the same understanding and can create additional problems around distractions. Now let's troubleshoot the 3 patterns owners see most often. Pattern 1 is the dog who surges the moment the door opens. Do not begin the walk from chaos. Practice clipping the leash, waiting for a moment of slack, opening the door a few inches, and closing it if the dog rushes. The open doorway becomes the first life reward. Pattern 2 is the dog who walks well on the way home but pulls on the way out. The environment is more valuable at the beginning, so increase your reward rate and use shorter training blocks early. Give a sniff release before asking for focus. Pattern 3 is the dog who pulls only towards specific targets. Use those targets as controlled rewards. One loose step toward the tree earns another step. Tight leash pauses access. It may feel slow at first, but the target itself teaches the rule. Progress should be measured by leash slack, not miles. One calm block at the end of the driveway is a successful session. As the dog improves, gradually reduce food and replace it with movement, sniffing, praise, and play. You can make that progress easier to see with a simple score. Pick one short stretch, such as the driveway to the first tree, and count how many times the leash becomes tight. Repeat the same stretch a few days later under similar conditions. If the number drops from 12 stops to 6, the training is working, even if the rest of the neighborhood is still difficult. Pay attention to where the walk falls apart. Some dogs pull only for the first 5 minutes. Others pull after a frightening noise or when they recognize the route to the park. The location of the pulling tells you what reward or emotion is driving it. A dog rushing toward the park needs controlled access. A dog dragging home after a noise may need help feeling safe, not another leash lesson. Before leaving the house, spend 60 seconds creating the behavior you want outside. Clip the leash, reward the soft J shape, take 3 steps across the room, and turn with your cue. Then approach the door. This warm-up reminds the dog which game is starting before the environment becomes distracting. At the door, work in tiny pieces. Reach for the handle while the leash is loose. If your dog surges, remove your hand. Try again. Open the door 1 inch, reward slack, then close it. Soon the dog learns that calm feet make the doorway open. You are not demanding a long stay. You are teaching that self-control moves the process forward. Once outside, choose a realistic reward rate. In a new environment, that may mean food every 1 or 2 steps. After several successful sessions, stretch it to 3 steps, then 5. If pulling returns, increase the rate again. Reducing rewards is not a race. The goal is to transfer value gradually to walking, sniffing, and access to the environment. Use your voice with intention. One clear marker tells the dog exactly when the leash was loose. Constant chatter can make the important sound disappear. You can still be warm and encouraging, but let the marker predict the reward and let your turn cue predict movement. Clear signals reduce the need to repeat yourself. Walks with 2 people can create extra pulling because the dog wants to reach whoever is ahead. Start with both people together. Then have one person move only a few feet ahead while the handler rewards slack. If the dog pulls, the person ahead pauses. Loose leash makes the group reunite. This uses the social target as the reward without letting pulling succeed. If your dog switches sides constantly, decide whether that is actually a problem. Loose leash walking does not require military precision. Switching is fine when the path is open and the leash stays safe. Around traffic, bikes, or narrow spaces, cue the dog to the protected side and reward there. Ask for precision only when it serves a practical purpose. Give yourself permission to separate transportation from training. If you must reach a potty area quickly, use management and get there safely. Then begin a short, intentional practice block. Expecting perfect leash manners during every second of every necessary outing can make both dog and handler fail before training even starts. Practice around mild temptations that you control. Place a low-value object several feet away, approach while the leash is loose, and pause the moment tension appears. When the dog returns slack, move one step closer. Reaching the object becomes the reward. This makes the rule visible without depending on a surprise squirrel to create the lesson. Teach a default check-in at stops. When you pause at a curb or before crossing a driveway, reward the dog for orienting toward you while the leash hangs loose. This adds a useful safety habit and gives the walk predictable moments of connection. Follow local traffic rules and keep enough physical control that training never replaces basic caution. If progress stalls, look at the reward before blaming the dog. The environment may be paying with movement, smells, and social access while you offer one dry treat after 10 difficult steps. Increase the rate, use a better reward, or let a successful block earn sniffing. The lesson becomes clearer when the payment matches the difficulty. For the first week, use the same short route whenever possible. Warm up inside, practice at the doorway, walk one block in brief training sections, and include 2 planned sniff releases. Record where tension appears. Familiarity reduces the number of changing variables and lets you improve timing instead of solving a completely new route every day. In week 2, keep the same rule but change one picture. Walk at a different quiet time, add another half block, or practice near one mild distraction at a safe distance. If the leash suddenly stays tight again, return to the earlier level. Generalizing the skill takes deliberate repetitions, even when the dog looked perfect on the original route. Choose the leash length for the job. A short fixed leash can be useful on narrow sidewalks and near traffic, while a longer fixed line may give safe freedom in an open sniffing area. The rule stays the same. The dog can use the available space without creating tension. Change lengths deliberately and keep the extra line organized so it does not wrap around legs, trees, or other dogs. Teach the dog what the end of the leash feels like without allowing a full-speed collision. Indoors, apply the lightest, steady tension and weight. The moment the dog moves toward the pressure and creates slack, mark and reward. You are not pulling the dog into position. You are teaching that moving with gentle leash information makes the pressure disappear. The first 30 seconds outside often determine the rest of the walk. If the dog launches through the door and drags to the sidewalk, the pulling pattern has already paid several times. Use the doorway exercise, take 1 or 2 loose steps, then release to sniff near home. The dog gets access quickly, but the access begins through slack rather than a sprint. Pulling toward home deserves a separate plan. A worried or tired dog may drag back because home means safety. Stopping every few feet can increase distress. Look for the cause, choose a quieter route, and use professional help if fear is involved. Loose leash mechanics cannot solve an emotional need by themselves. Sometimes the correct training decision is to shorten the outing and help the dog feel secure. Pulling away from home is often driven by novelty. Raise the reward rate during the first block, walk at a purposeful pace, and give an early sniff release. Once the dog has gathered information, focused walking may become easier. Expecting the hardest work before the dog has smelled anything can turn the first block into a fight that neither of you needed. 2 dog walks multiply the difficulty. Each dog changes pace, crosses paths, and reacts to what the other notices. Train separately until both understand the loose leash rule. Then begin together in a quiet area with 2 capable handlers. One person holding 2 untrained pullers is not a fair test of the method, especially near traffic or other dogs. If you must walk 2 dogs alone, choose equipment and routes with professional guidance. Keep sessions short and avoid tangles. Reward each dog in a consistent position. If one dog needs reactivity work or has a very different pace, separate walks may remain the safer and more productive choice. Convenience should not outrank control. Weather changes the value of the environment. Wind carries smells, rain creates puddles, snow hides familiar paths, and hot pavement may require a completely different schedule. Lower expectations when the picture changes. Keep the rule, shorten the block, and reward more often. Generalization happens because you rebuild success under new conditions, not because the dog should know better. Your hands affect leash tension. Hold the handle securely, keep your elbows relaxed, and avoid winding the leash tightly around your wrist or fingers. Gather extra length in safe folds rather than creating a knot. Good handling gives you control while allowing slack to remain visible to the dog. Watch your walking line as well. If you drift toward the dog, step over the leash, and then correct the dog for changing sides. The picture is unclear. Pick a side near hazards and reward that position. In open areas, allow safe exploration. The dog can learn both freedom and precision when the cues and environments are distinct. Progressively thin food rewards only after the behavior is stable in that setting. Replace some treats with 10 more steps, a sniff release, a turn toward a favorite tree, or a short play break. Keep surprise food in the schedule. The walk itself becomes rewarding, but your feedback should never disappear so completely that pulling becomes the easier strategy again. If you have a very strong dog, practice the mechanics where the environment is controlled before relying on them outside. A qualified reward-based trainer can help with equipment fit, grip, and safe handling positions. The goal is not to prove you can overpower the dog. The goal is to build a pattern that makes constant physical strength unnecessary. Build rest days into the plan. A dog does not need a difficult neighborhood lesson every day to improve. Quiet sniffing in a suitable area, indoor training, food search games, and calm time can meet needs without rehearsing pulling through the same crowded route. Recovery supports learning for the handler too. If the dog has already practiced pulling for years, expect the old habit to return when rewards are exciting or the handler is distracted. That does not mean the new rule failed. It means the old behavior has a long history. Shorten the leash training block, increase the reward rate, and make the next few choices easy enough to reinforce. Ask every regular walker to follow the same movement rule. If one person allows pulling to every tree while another stops at tension, the dog experiences two different games. A temporary compromise can use a cue that clearly releases the dog to explore on available leash length, but even that freedom should avoid constant pressure. Do not remove rewards all at once. Unpredictable reinforcement keeps behavior strong. Sometimes one loose block earns food. Sometimes it earns the best patch of grass. Sometimes it earns a quick game with you. If pulling suddenly appears, if your dog coughs or struggles in equipment, or if movement seems painful, speak with your veterinarian. If pulling is tied to fear or intense reactivity, work on the emotional issue at a safe distance, rather than treating it as a simple leash manners problem. The complete system comes back to one rule. Loose leash opens the world. Tight leash pauses it. Reward beside your leg. Turn before tension. Use sniffing as payment and train in short blocks your dog can actually win.